Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission here is always to cut through the noise, really distill the core insights from powerful sources. And today, we're diving deep into a really influential one, Michael A. Singer's The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself. If you're someone who maybe feels caught up in that constant mental chatter, the stress, the emotional loops, well, you know that feeling of being kind of stuck inside your own head. So our goal today is to pull out the key ideas about consciousness, about inner freedom, and give you a sort of working map. And it really kicks off with this pretty radical question Singer asks. What if you aren't actually that voice inside your head?
hmm And what's so compelling about this book, I think, is that it's not just philosophy, it's practical. Singer blends these profound spiritual truths, the kind you might find in, ancient wisdom traditions, with really accessible advice that works when you're stuck in traffic or dealing with a tough situation at work. It just hits home for so many because it offers this immediate way to deal with the mental noise that's just everywhere today.
Okay, so let's unpack that central idea. We all know that voice, right? The one that's always going judging, planning, worrying, telling stories. Singer's first big move is to say, hold on, that voice, that's not actually you.
Right.
The real game changer, the sort of aha moment he points to, is realizing your identity isn't in what the voice says. It's in the awareness behind it, the silent witness. You're the observer. You're the consciousness watching the mental show, not the actor lost in the drama.
And that distinction, simple as it sounds, it completely reframes your relationship with your own mind. It's huge. We're taught pretty much from day one to identify with our thoughts. I am angry. I'm stressed. I think this. Singer basically says, try stepping back. Try saying, I notice anger arising, or I'm aware of a worried thought passing through.
It creates distance, doesn't it? Instantly.
Exactly. You start seeing the mind as this incredible mechanism. It generates thoughts, feelings, judgments constantly. But you, the observer, you're separate from all that output.
Yeah.
It's like Singer's analogy, you're the sky. And the thoughts and feelings are just the weather passing through. Storms happen, clouds drift by, but the sky itself, it just remains.
And that's so powerful practically, because when you see a stressful thought as just an object, like a cloud floating by, not some kind of command you have to obey.
Yeah.
Its power just shrinks, doesn't it? But okay, that brings up the next thing. If we're the observer, how do we actually handle all the stuff we're observing? Especially the negative stuff, the difficult emotions.
Perfect segue. Because, if we're just the awareness, then where does all the suffering come from? Singer's argument is pretty clear. It comes from clinging and resisting. That's the core mechanism. We desperately hold on to pleasant experiences, trying to make them last forever, or we fight like crazy against unpleasant ones, trying to push them away.
Right, trying to control reality, basically, which never quite works.
Never. And think about the energy involved in that holding on, that pushing away. It's exhausting.
So for the awareness, how does resisting something, say a painful memory or a current frustration, how does that actually lock us down?
Well, energetically, resistance takes effort, right? It creates friction. Freedom, according to Singer, comes from the opposite, non-resistance. So let's say a thought pops up. I messed that up last week. The usual reaction is either to push it down, ignore it, or get into a whole mental argument with yourself about it.
Yeah, beat yourself up about it.
Exactly. Both feeding it energy, keeping it stuck. Singer says, just let it pass. Like those clouds, observe the thought. Okay, there's the I messed up thought. Observe the feeling, maybe frustration or embarrassment. Don't fight it. Don't try to suppress it. Just notice it. The moment you stop fueling it with resistance and judgment, its energy just dissipates. It passes through.
That difference between suppression and observation is key, though, isn't it? Because they can feel similar at first.
Absolutely vital. Suppression is like, I hate this feeling, get it away. Which just shoves it deeper, stores the energy.
Right.
Observation is more like, wow, okay, intense feeling here. I'm going to allow myself to feel this fully without getting lost in the story about the feeling.
So you're acknowledging it's there, but not identifying with it as you.
Precisely. Yeah. It's an energy event happening within your awareness, but it isn't the awareness itself. And that non-resistance, that letting go, that's how the whole system cleanses itself.
Okay, so if we follow that, letting go of the mental resistance, that naturally leads us out of just the head and more into the body, right? Into what Singer calls the energy of the heart. What happens to all that emotional energy that was kind of blocked up by resisting?
Well, the idea is we're designed for flow. We're energetic beings. The reason we feel blocked, heavy, anxious, often comes down to that resistance we were just talking about, holding on to old hurts, fears, resentments. It's like putting dams in our own energy system.
Literally creating energetic blockages. You can sometimes feel it, can't you? That tightness.
You really can. That
Yeah.
knot in your stomach, the tight chest,
Mm.
that's often stored emotional energy, pain we haven't let pass through. And the beautiful thing, the mechanism for release is simply letting go. Stop resisting. Allow the feeling, the memory, the energy to finally move.
So letting go isn't passive, it's actively allowing.
Exactly. You allow the blockage to dissolve. And when that happens, Singer suggests the heart opens up again. That natural flow of energy, which feels like peace,
Hmm.
maybe even joy, it gets restored. Because that's our natural state underneath the resistance.
Which brings us squarely into the present moment.
It has to.
Because if you're not clinging to the past or bracing against the future,
Yeah.
where else are you? You're just here.
Right. It connects beautifully with what teachers like Eckhart Tolle talk about. But Singer frames it as the natural result of practicing non-resistance. Presence isn't something you achieve through effort.
It's what's left when you stop obstructing the flow.
Perfectly put. When you stop creating those mental and emotional dams.
So for you listening, the takeaway here is that being present isn't some mystical state you have to strive for. It's more about removing the obstacles. When you're fully here, open, allowing, that natural energy just flows and it feels like freedom.
And that feeling, that openness, that's the stepping stone to the final, really expansive part of the journey Singer describes,
Mm.
which is moving beyond the biggest restriction of all,
Mm.
the ego or the small self.
Ah, yes, the small self. This feels like the ultimate destination in the book. We've identified the voice, learned how to let energy flow. Now we deal with the architect of the prison.
Pretty much. The small self is that identity we've built up over years. It's constructed from our thoughts, our beliefs, our memories, especially the painful ones, our fears, our desires, our roles. It's the I that says, I'm a job title, I need people to like me, I was wronged by X, my opinions are right. It's the story of me,
And why is identifying with that so limiting?
because it's incredibly fragile. It's totally dependent on external things staying the same. If your identity is successful business owner, what happens if the business fails? If it's perfect partner, what happens if the relationship changes? The small self is constantly under threat because life changes.
So it's inherently insecure, always needing validation, always defending itself.
Constantly. That's the prison. The idea that your worth, your peace, depends on things outside of you being a certain way.
So the path to being truly untethered, as the title says, is to consciously stop identifying with that construction.
Yes, to realize that the awareness, watching the small self freak out or grasp for pleasure or wallow in pain, that awareness is vast, it's stable, it's untouched by the drama.
That's the shift into what he calls pure consciousness.
Exactly. Realizing you are the space in which everything happens, thoughts, feelings, the small self's antics, world events, they all arise and pass within you, the consciousness.
Mm.
They aren't you.
That's a profound shift. It moves beyond just managing stress into, well, spiritual awakening.
It really does. And that's why this book is such a key text for people serious about mindfulness or meditation. It's not just about feeling a bit calmer. It's a roadmap for fundamentally changing your relationship with reality. For liberation, really. Liberation from the prison you didn't even realize you'd built yourself out of thoughts and resistance.
Okay, that brings us towards the end of this deep dive. We've really traced Singer's path here. Seeing you're the observer, not the voice. The absolute necessity of letting go, of non-resistance, letting thoughts be clouds, how that opens up the heart's energy flow, and finally transcending that limited small self to recognize your true nature as consciousness.
Yeah, the untethered soul really is this powerful invitation. It's saying, hey, you don't have to live based on the fears and limits dictated by that voice you thought was you.
Mm-hmm.
The whole journey starts the moment you choose to just observe that inner commentary instead of automatically believing and reacting to it.
Fantastic. Okay, so to leave you with something to chew on, building on Singer's whole approach, if that voice in your head, the one generating maybe fear or resistance or judgment, is just a mechanism you can observe, what's one specific thing, maybe a small, nagging resentment or worry you've been holding on to, where you could practice just letting the clouds pass today, just observing it without getting hooked, without resisting, just for today? What would that feel like?